Osmosis, a three-pointer, looking to continue a career day, and she knocks it down.
Gets the fast break layup and one.
From the studios of 95.7 The Spin.
Who lays it up and in through the contact of Baylor. What a finish from Emma DeHart. Wasn't even looking at the basket when she threw it up.
Back-to-back three-pointers off back-to-back possessions for the Screaming Eagles.
It's the Stein Show with USI women's basketball head coach, Rick Stein.
Lays it up and in, Addie Blackwell, and one.
95.7 The Spin presents The Stein Show, the weekly coach show with USI head women's basketball coach, Rick Stein. Once again, I'm the host, Nathaniel Barbie. A little different setup, but it will do. Of course, The Stein Show is happening once again, 14 weeks strong. And this week, we're talking a little bit about USI's road loss to the Greyhounds of Indianapolis, 62-55. USI really did well from shooting behind the arc. They prevented a lot of turnovers, but the rebounding battle was just all Indianapolis, along with the shooting performance late in the game. Indy just came up strong from the beginning and finished it with a dagger, and USI coming up with their first loss of the season. I'm going to talk to Coach Stein about the loss and see what he thought his team did right and what they need to improve on. So I got Coach Stein right here, and we're going to talk to him about USI and UND. Welcome, Coach Stein. Once again, we've been doing this for a long 14 weeks. 2020 is almost coming to an end, and we get to talk more basketball. But unfortunately, we're talking about a tough loss your team had against Indianapolis, 62-55. Could you just talk a little bit about that loss last Sunday?
Yeah. Obviously, we knew we were going to have a tough one going on the road. Again, a good Indy team that's playing really good. They lost a few games early. They didn't have their head coach with them for those three losses. She was not on their bench at that time. I'm not really sure if that was COVID related or whatever. But then they go on the road and get two good road wins on a road trip last week, and they got hot. They're playing good basketball. Came in against us, and I thought they played a terrific game. Obviously, their game plan was solid, and they knew what they were going to do. But they really played well and shot the ball so well. Obviously, there's things that we wanted to do better, and there's some things that we wanted to take away better and didn't. But got to credit them and Indy and how they played. And again, we're a basketball team that has to get better yet. There's a lot of ways that we can improve, and I think one of them is just how we're going to get off to a better start. The last few games, we've had a handful of games really that we really haven't started that well, and over the last couple of weeks, and we're kind of digging out of a hole a little bit. And I think that same thing happened at Indianapolis, on Sunday, and it's one of those that hopefully we can shore those kind of things up, when we get back, next week and get back to practices again.
Despite the loss, what are some things that you felt like your team did right against Indianapolis?
Yeah. Here's the thing, it was the tale of different quarters for sure. The first quarter they come out and go 7 of 10 from the field, and we get 70% and wonder why, we give up 22 points. Then obviously the second, in third quarters we give up 10 and 10. So that looks a little bit more like what we try to do defensively. But then in the fourth quarter again, we give up 20 again. So in two quarters we give up 44 points. In 2 quarters we give up 20. Certainly, some good points in those middle 2 quarters there when it comes to defense and rebounding the ball and keeping teams to a low shooting percentage and keep them off the free throw line. I think in those 2 quarters, their total free throw shot was maybe 8. And the rest of the game, I think they shot, 13 or 14 in those other 2 quarters. That's too many. That's bailout time, and that's where we're getting them to the free throw line too much. So, it was a physical game. It was a tough game, that way for sure. I definitely thought they let them get physical, maybe a little bit more physical than they should have, with some of our post play down there. But it's a road game, and it's you got to get tough and you got to get ready to go. And again, there's some positives for sure. Are we going to learn from it without question? Will we be better the next time out? I certainly hope so, because our next 3 games are on the road. So we certainly got to get better from this scenario and come out the next time out and be a better basketball team.
Now, that was the first road game of the 2020-2021 season. Did you feel like that being on the road was a factor in the loss?
Did you say the road was a factor?
Yes.
Well, yeah, again, I mean, heck, we're going to play half our games at home. We're going to play half our games on the road. So, I mean, we certainly can't make an excuse for, not being at home. We're going to got a lot of road games left, and that's part of it. But, to win on the road in this league, we got to be better. We got to be 10, 12, 13 points better just to win by one. And we weren't. I mean, we weren't on Sunday. And every time we kind of pushed forward and heck, we took the lead late in the game there, in the fourth, and then we couldn't get a stop. It's like we ended up with the ball a couple times late, and then we turned it over or couldn't find a basket. If I had $5 for every time the ball went in and out for us, my goodness, we'd have extra money for Christmas here, Nathaniel. I mean, it'd be a good Christmas, because it seemed like the ball was down, especially early on. Man, we had some good looks at the basket. It looked like the ball was going in, and it just didn't find its way in. But there again, it's why I say you can't live and die by made baskets. You gotta defend, and you gotta keep defending. There was times we just broke down and gave them too many good looks. I'll tell you what, it seemed like we defended well even late in that game, and all of a sudden the shot clock was down to 5, 4, 3, 2, and they were winging one at the basket from deep, and it went in. I mean, they had a lot of deep threes right at the end of shot clocks. But again, I thought we got Indy's best. I think they played as good as we've seen them play, and it certainly was you saw it after the game, a big win for them, and how they felt about winning the basketball game. And again, I say it all the time with our team. You got this Southern Indiana on your jersey, and it says Eagles, screaming Eagles wherever, saying that we're going to get everybody's best. People want to beat us. Obviously, we've had a lot of success in the league for a lot of years, and in this league, people they get fired up and ready to play against the University of Southern Indiana screaming Eagles, and that's not going to be any different for any of the rest of our games this year, because they're all conference games.
And as you mentioned earlier, Indianapolis, it felt like they could not miss. Went 7 of 10 from the field alone in the first quarter. But after that, they really struggled from shooting from the field. Went, I want to say, 20-some% in the second and not even 30 in the third quarter. What defensive adjustments were made to lower that percentage?
Well, I certainly thought we just played better defense. I mean, obviously, Zero's a definite shooter for them, right? Drury obviously had a heck of a game. 12 also. I mean, those two are on the scouting report. We knew that they could shoot the basketball, and I thought we found them better in those two quarters, and certainly defended them better. But really in the fourth, those two got open again. Both those two found some. Zero was on that baseline knocking down a couple big threes for them. We banged one to go up one or whatever it was, and it came right back down and not going down against us. And again, it was it was a possession by possession game. Every possession mattered, and I certainly thought that there was times in that game where we made the most of them on both ends of the court, but then times where we didn't. And again, you got to credit Indy. I mean, Indy's a good club, and they won 3 straight basketball games for a reason, and they were certainly ready and prepared to play and played a good basketball game. And boy, they made some tough shots. Even sometimes when you defend well, and you get a hand up on a player that's from shooting from 26 feet out, and you're contesting it, and sometimes it goes in, and it went in for them, and obviously helped them to get a good win.
And the three-point shooting was really improved for your team. Shot decently well, 38.5% from downtown. How did you feel about the deep ball overall against Indianapolis?
Well, fine. I mean, I knew we were going to have to knock down some shots. Obviously, we knew they were going to run a little zone against us, and they were doubling down into the paint. They were trying to squeeze our bigs, which most people are right now. They're trying to take that away a little bit, and I thought we got some good looks at the basket without question, and I mean, obviously we knocked a few down. Well, we're 5 of 13, which is a solid number, and that's going to be part of it. One of the things that that you see in the stat sheet that really, shows up, other than the fact that we gave up too many points. And, our number's 60. We gave up 62 points and didn't get a road win. But, we had, I think we were leading the league for sure in free throw attempts and free throws made. We go to Indy and they go 17 of 23, and we go 8 of 13. I mean, for the game, we make 8. They make 17. Free throws. I mean, there's your game right there. I mean, I knew Indy was going to make some threes. They were making 7 or 8 a game anyway. They made 9. We made it 5. I think we make 4 or 5 a game, whatever it is. But that free throw line certainly became a difference maker, and heck, they made more. They made 4 more than we even attempted, and that's something that we've been doing to other teams all year long is really owning that free throw line and topping it off and finishing off, and it wasn't the case at Indy.
And again, Team USI was out rebound for only the second time this season. It feels like USI really out rebounds every team they face off against, but that was not the case with Indianapolis. Had the under 5 margin in rebounding. Really, what do you feel like was the cause for being out rebounded?
Well, both teams, they had 8 offensive, we had 7 defensive or offensive rebounds. Again, the offensive glass has been a better scenario for us. So we got to get more in that. We got to get in there, get in that paint, and get second shots, and get second opportunities. Obviously, it was a team that I told our team that they were definitely going to block us out. It was a discipline scenario where I knew that they'd get bodies on. We're going to have to just work harder to try to get in there and get some. You got to give them credit. Obviously, I think they blocked out well. Second chance points was even, Steven, 9-9. And generally that's a place where we're winning that battle a little bit. The defensive rebounds were similar stuff, but I obviously we didn't make every basket. How many more can you go get? We needed a few more offensive putbacks too, and that's been a staple for us this year. I mean, obviously we've talked rebounding a lot, but even that offensive end where you're trying to get a few more opportunities at the goal, and 60 points is a hallmark for us. That's what we talk about. We gave up more than that. Out rebounding our opponents. We talked about that, and we got out rebounded. Limiting turnovers. We ended up with 12 assists and 13 turnovers, more turnovers than assists. I mean, some of those things, really show up, and I think, some of those facts, and that free throw line for sure. And it led to a tough loss. I mean, we have the ball, in hand with the chances to win and chances to tie game, and we didn't. We just did top off a few plays there. But I don't think it was all about the end of the game. I think it was, it was about every possession throughout the game. Again, it was a tight possession game scenario. And we didn't make the most of enough possessions on both ends of the court. For us to keep improving, we're going to have to do better on both ends of the court when it comes to possession play.
And you touched on it just a little bit about turnovers. Turnovers were very limited, especially in that first half of play. Was it the lack of, I guess you would say, pressure from Indy that prevented the turnovers?
Yeah, it was just kind of one of those games. I think both ways. I mean, they ended up with 14 assists, 14 turnovers. We're 12 and 13. Both teams were basically getting deep into shot clocks, and you got to credit defenses about that too a little bit. Obviously, we ended up with 54 shots to their 49. I mean, we've played games where we've had 70 shots, 70 plus shots. So less possessions, maybe less possessions with the ball in hand too. And again, I think both teams were making each other get deeper into shot clocks, and again, I just said it earlier. Man, they certainly knocked down a couple tough ones at the end of buzzers and right at the buzzer, and I obviously got to credit them for making some big shots.
And as you said, dished out 12 assists. How do you feel about the ball movement overall against Indianapolis?
Well, I thought we got stagnant at times, and again, I don't want to take anything away from Indy because I think they really guarded well. They played well. offense is something that we have a lot of options and opportunities in what we do offensively. And I thought we got stagnant some and just didn't get to some of those options that we needed to. Ball wasn't moving and flowing as good as it probably needed to be. And with that said, I thought they really were physical, and they got us out of position sometimes, when we were even trying to go set a screen, and we just couldn't go get to that screen area because we were getting knocked off a little bit. And again, we're going to have to be a little bit tougher, a little bit stronger. And I think that will certainly help us to continue to run better offense as we move forward too. And you put all those things together, and we talked about a lot of different things. Obviously, it's hard on the road. It's hard to win, and we got to shore some of those things up as we move forward and tighten them up a little bit. And I think we will. I don't think there's any question. We were in a great battle and a great game right there with Indianapolis. And again, we took a 1-point lead with just a few minutes left in the game, and put ourselves in a position to win. And there's a lot of ways we're going to be better yet. And this game will certainly help us to be better. I mean, obviously it's a road scenario that we're going to understand when we get back from Christmas. We got 3 of them in basically 7 days, 3 games, 7 days, all on the road. And hopefully this experience is going to help us to be able to find ways to get some W's out there.
22 fouls for USI. It was an extremely high number, but of course, late in the game, had to play the fouling game, try to get Indy to the free throw line and miss a couple. But really, what did you feel like about the fouls that were called in that game, 22 of them?
Yeah, I mean, again, every game's called a little bit differently. You run it into different styles, different styles of play and physical play, or whatever it is. Every referee in our league is in a boat where they're calling games at all levels. So there's no matter what you do, you just got to be ready to play your game and play your style and play USI basketball and adjust to some of those things as you move along. Again, 22 seems like a lot. For our basketball team, certainly was kind of high, and I think we just bailed. I think we bailed them out a little bit too much. Especially at the end of shot clocks. Indy, what they like to do is if they get deep into the clock, they like to really put their head down and just try to get in there and get to the basket, get to the paint. I think you got to just make tough shots, and I think we bailed them out a few too many times, and obviously that leads to fouls, and it leads to them being in the 2-shot penalty and more free throws, and certainly did happen probably too many times in that game.
Indy was definitely not afraid to shoot from way beyond the arc. I would say NBA range, if I'm not mistaken. When shot clock was expiring, or even whenever they had 10 on the shot clock, they were just throwing it from deep, as deep as they possibly could, and they were making it. But with that being said, how will you adjust your defense whenever teams are just releasing it from that far out?
Yeah. Again, I mean, you got to give them credit. They're making tough shots. I don't remember too many that were just flat uncontested. A lot of those was us playing really good defense and playing it for 25 seconds. And then the ball, gets kicked out and somebody is knocking down a shot from way out. And, outside of, there's 2 lines on that floor. Obviously that men's basketball line is moving back next year. And they were outside of that one a handful of times deep. I say it all the time, we just want to make sure that every shot that our opponent gets is a contested one. And I thought we were there to contest, a lot of those, some not, obviously some we got to be better at, but we're out there to contest some of those long ones, and they made some tough shots, and again, you got to credit them for making tough plays and finishing tough plays, and again, I mean, it's a possession by possession game, and they knocked down a few tough ones, a few more than we did, and obviously got them, like I said, got them a good win.
To mute myself right there, but just to talk a little about one of your specific plays on offense, maybe not a play, but just something that it really feels like your team does well, is that lob pass from the top of the key down low to that block. It really seemed like Ashlyn Brown does it very well, especially against Indianapolis, got on top of the key and would just lob it down to Hannah Haithcock. Could you talk a little bit about that, how that play really works and what you're trying to do with that lob pass?
Yeah, well, our offense is built on basically two post scenario, but a lot of the time, one of those post players is not down low. One would be up high. Obviously ball reversals, ball screens, shots and drives, but also that high low action that we get some stuff out of, and I think it's hard to guard. It's what it does is if we get one-on-one down there, I think we have bigs that can certainly make some plays and get some catches and finish them down there. And if not, then a lot of teams will try to double it too and try to take that away, which opens up some shots on ball reversals for guards and that too. So we that posts work together. They're a team in there, and not to mention the whole five is a team in there. But that post action, post work together is something that we work hard at and try to utilize as a strength when it comes to the high low pin or even front entries down there. We can throw snap passes or bounce passes if somebody's playing behind us. We can lob over the top. Again, it's a quick read from our bigs. It's something we spend a lot of time on it. It's not something that you just show up and are really good at. You talked about Ashlyn and Hannah. They've been doing it together for this is their second year doing it together. They're pretty good at it, when it comes to reading each other and reading off each other. So hopefully we can continue to improve on that aspect of how we play and as part of our offense.
And to highlight a few more players, Hannah Haithcock fouled out, but she did have a team high 14 points. Could you just talk about her performance against Indianapolis?
Well, yeah, I thought they were just really all over her. I mean, it was a push fest, a shove fest, a battle down in that low post area. And Hannah early struggled a little bit, but then when she got her legs underneath her and understood how the game was going to get played down there, she certainly that second half for her was big for us. She finished some really, really tough plays. I mean, some tough shots and some tough plays down there. So, when you get in that paint area and you got, 1, 2, 3 people, coming at you, decision making's got to come quickly and making the next play's got to come quickly. And again, I thought as she got into the game, and deeper into the game, I think her flow of it and understanding where they were coming from certainly got better and made some big plays.
Emma DeHart, 12 points, and now moves to 32nd overall in USI's women's basketball program overall for scoring, 32nd overall. Has she had her eye on that leaderboard at any point in time, talked about it at all?
Well, not that I know of. Emma's not she's not generally worried about anything individual for sure. She's what her focus is how to win the game. And the fact that I didn't know where she was, but to hear that she's rising up the board doesn't surprise me. Obviously, been a good player for us for going into her 4th year now, and think she's accomplishing and has accomplished along the way. It's all about wins. It's all about she's a player that has been to 2 NCAA tournaments and probably should have been to a 3rd. When it comes to her sophomore year, and her whole focus is on getting to one this year too. Finding a way to get to as many as possible and hopefully win. And I think that's her whole motivation. I don't think it has anything to do with anything individually for sure.
Another player, Ashlyn Brown, really showcased her talent against Indianapolis, had some great passes down low, as I mentioned, to Hannah Haithcock, but she really has improved overall throughout the entire season and her entire career. How do you feel about her performance and the way she's improved this season?
Ashlyn just keeps getting better every day. You and I talked about her. She obviously missed our first couple games, and again, here's a player that's missed 5 weeks this year because of an ankle sprain, a high ankle sprain that was bad, and then some quarantine time. So she's been out 5 weeks, and you know, I think as far as players go, she probably came in as ready or more ready than any player that we had this year. She had worked her tail off. Her fitness and her strength was great, and her game was confident and great. And then 5 weeks were taken away, and that's hard. It's hard for anybody. You know, obviously 3 for injury and the other 2 for during that time. Those 5 weeks, you're not doing anything. I mean, 2 of those weeks you're not even at practice watching. You know, not even trying. You know, finding ways to get better there. I felt so bad for her in that situation, in those scenarios, because you know she had, her game was just really you know had taken off. I thought even to another level this year coming in. Now she's starting to get her legs back under her. I think her game is starting to get where she wants it to be and needs it, where we want it to be and need it to be. You know, to help us win games. Obviously, excited to get back to the practice court again. You know, next week when we get back from the Life in the Balance here, and I know that, you know, I think all our players will be excited for sure. And we need them to just, you know, have a great week. You know, to get with family, get with loved ones. You know, these young women really haven't seen family and loved ones. I mean, we didn't have things. You know, there was no home for Thanksgiving. There was no, you know, there hasn't been any time to get home, we're trying to stay away from travel scenarios and this and that, so because of COVID, obviously. But I think certainly our whole team and Ashlyn, you know, definitely will be hungry coming back, ready to go and get back to the practice court and obviously, you know, work to get back on another winning streak when we go to Truman State after the break.
Ashley Hunter and Sophia Rickers have both really showcased their talent on the defensive end specifically. Could you just talk about how much of an impact they have on the defensive end?
Well, you know, obviously that's what we preach from day one. And you're talking about a few players that just got with us, and you know, both experienced players, of course. You know, Ashley's a senior, and you know, but this is her 3rd program in 3 years. We're teaching her, you know, things differently than she was taught last year and the year before. Sophia obviously is a sophomore, but again, we're teaching her new stuff. Just the mindset and the focus on being good defensively is what we've been trying to drill in their heads, and how they can really affect the game that way. And you know, they both definitely have made impacts when it comes to our basketball team in a lot of different ways, of course. I mean, you know, offensively and defensively, but you know, that defensive end is something that you know, definitely with their experiences, I think has helped them to come in and help us on the defensive end.
No games for 2 weeks. What are you planning to do over the break with your team as far as practicing?
Yeah, you know, we have something in Division II. It's called, you know, the Life in the Balance, and you know, there's a mandatory 7 days off. So, you know, when it came to, you know, our game on Sunday, you know, we obviously played at Indianapolis. We had, you know, we had, you know, 12 players that then, you know, are ready to go, and they can't be here. We can't practice. We can't play. We can't do scout. Can't go in the weight room. Can't do anything together. It's a week off that's mandated across the country, Division II, and again, I think it's a good thing. When it first came out, I didn't know. I didn't know if what, you know, what that meant. You know, we had always just, you know, made decisions based on our team, what we should do or not do. But what it does, it gives everybody that week of time. You know, administrators, game people, nobody can play. You can't practice. So there's no advantages anywhere from anybody, because nobody else is doing anything either. But it's certainly a week needed at home. Obviously, we send some things home with them that will hopefully help them over the break to stay fit and stay strong. Our strength and conditioning coach, Josh Wildeman, he sent home a workout schedule for them, but from home, at home, not hey, where am I going to the gym? You know, we don't need to be in gyms right now, you know, at home. You know, they say those aren't very good places to be when it comes to COVID, and we're trying to stay away from people. And obviously we want to love our families and get to see our parents and loved ones, and that's what you do. But to try to stay away from harm's way in other places. So a lot of the next week will be on them, and then of course we'll get them back. They'll be back in town next Sunday evening, and we'll be after it. We'll have some COVID testing on early Monday morning, and then get back to practices. Certainly hope and pray that everybody comes back safe and healthy and enjoy their time. Man, this is a great time with family, and we want them to enjoy that, and then come back and focus back in, and hopefully they're hungry and ready to come back and get back after it, and like I said, get better next week as we prepare for another tough road trip.
And it is the most wonderful time of the year. And of course, everyone wants to be able to celebrate the holidays. But how have you been able to celebrate this time of the year with your team specifically?
Yeah, not a lot of time spent off the court with us. That hurt. That's hard, and it hurts. Because I think as a team, as a family, we enjoy each other more than just on the court. And I want our kids to enjoy each other and have fun. I want to get to know them more than just on the court as basketball players. But we did do a gingerbread house making competition last week during the week, which was really fun. We did it obviously mask on, a socially distanced in the pack, but something we did last year also, and we had a lot of fun with it. Sometimes, the holiday season's on us, and you get so focused in, and you're doing, you're just getting ready for next game, and again, there's, to spend some time together, have some fun together outside of basketball is always fun, and it's just been really hard right now. I mean, obviously, we're not. Yeah, it's been really hard, and again, we just went on a road trip. It was our first one, and it was either a lot different than road trips in the past because of what's happening with COVID, and you're not doing things that you generally would do, and you're trying to stay as safe and healthy as possible, and that's the way we're going to be until we're past this. Obviously that's just the way it's going to be, and we're going to try to keep finding ways to enjoy each other's company and time outside of the basketball court too, as we can do it in a safe and healthy way.
All right, I want to thank you once again, Coach, for taking time out of your day to be able to talk and enjoy and have everyone listen about your thoughts about the game and different sorts of your ideas from different aspects of the game with Indianapolis. I want to wish you a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays as we enter that time of the week.
Yeah, great. Hey, Nathaniel, appreciate you, man, and Merry Christmas to you, all our fans, anybody who's listening. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, and yeah, it's been a great semester when it comes to our basketball team, but also this show, and I've had a lot of fun with it. We've gotten hopefully a lot of good accomplished, when it comes to take care of this weekly, and again, hopefully we just look forward to a great new year and a second semester, and hopefully we get to play a lot of basketball games. Hopefully we get to keep having success in those too. So Merry Christmas to you and your family, and all our families out there that are watching and listening too. So thanks, appreciate it, man.
Thank you, Coach, and we'll see you again sometime in the near future.
Absolutely.